Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be making this 3D melted skull tumbler. I had so much fun creating this. The materials that you're going to need for this tumbler are very simple, okay? You are going to need some cardboard. You see me here cutting out my USPS box. They come in handy, guys, especially for creating an armature for your 3D tumblers. Okay, and all I'm doing is I am cutting out a squiggly, weird, base. And once I kind of figure out how I want this to look, I am going to cover this in polymer clay. Okay, but before I do that, we are going to go ahead and take my hot glue gun that you'll see here in a minute and some aluminum foil, which you can get right at the Dollar Tree. Okay, it doesn't need to be sturdy or anything like that, but you are going to take your hot glue gun and on your tumbler you are going to draw out your skull. Okay, you're going to cover up your hot glue with your aluminum foil. All right, and you're just going to continue to repeat that process until you are satisfied with the shape of your skull. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and play some music for you guys, and I'm gonna come back with some more instructions once this part is done. Okay, so are you having fun yet? It was pretty fun for me to make this. I'm adding it to the base now. Okay, I went ahead and hot glued it, but because there is a gap between the tumbler and the cardboard, I needed to go ahead and add some more foil to fill that in. Okay, I'm also creating um, teeth, I guess, for the skull that is kind of going to be melting into the cardboard. That's the concept. Um, but I am going ahead and just, taking this foil and adding it wherever I feel like I need it. Be careful not to burn yourself. I burned myself way too many times making this tumbler. But I'm just adding foil in the gaps, and then I'm going to go ahead and start with the clay. Okay, so now I'm getting my pasta press and my original Sculpey in white. You can find this at Michael's or any arts and crafts store, Amazon really. But what I'm doing is now I'm going to take my little rolling pin and I'm going to kind of manipulate this clay. Clay artists call this conditioning your clay, which is basically their way of saying you have to kind of get it, pliable and maneuver this clay so that you can use it. And so I start off by rolling this out with my little rolling pin here. And then I'm going to put it in my pasta press. And for those of you that don't know anything about a pasta press, this is for people who like to make their own pasta. Clay artists use this as well to condition their clay and to get a very flat surface, a very flat clay, right? So it's going to be evenly all the way through. Okay, and so the end of your pasta press has a dial on it. Um, that dial represents the thickness. Okay, so you definitely want to play around and see, which thickness works best for you. 9 on my pasta press is the thickest. Okay, and 1 would be the thinnest. All right, I'm gonna play around with this dial and see which one I want, to use, and then I'm gonna go ahead and cover my tumbler in this clay. And this is oven baked clay by Sculpey. I'll have it linked in the description bar. a little quick note for you: if you're using any type of oven baked clay, you can take some alcohol, okay, and that will help to smooth out any lumps or bumps. Okay, so oven baked clay, alcohol, and air dry clay, water. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead and bake this in your oven. I chose to bake mine at about, my oven goes, the lowest it goes to is 170. So I baked it at 170 for about 30 minutes, okay? But you really should look at the packaging instructions. You know your stove better than I do, so yeah. So once you bake it in your oven, then I went ahead and added some of more of that oven baked clay to the bottom of that cardboard base, and turn my cups upside down and then put it back in the oven. And then I'm gonna now go ahead and add the air dry clay to go ahead and smooth all of this out and give it that nice, melty look. Okay, so the air dry clay that I actually have been using, you saw me use this clay in my 3D cake slice tumbler. I am in love with this clay, guys. There are a lot of clays on the market. This video is not sponsored by them, but I love the way it like glides on. It's super, super smooth. It makes everything look like I'm doing so much work. And I know you guys might be like, well, you are, but really it's this clay. This clay is called Premier clay. Um, it's by Activa Products. So Activa Products, if you hear this video, sponsor me because I recommend this clay to my patrons. It is very makes my project come out very nice. So you saw with the oven baked clay, I went ahead and added it on, but it was still very bumpy per se. I could have went ahead and added some more oven baked clay and smooth it out with the alcohol, but this air dry clay is lighter, okay? And personally, I don't really like making heavy things, but I found that using this clay helps my projects to be very lightweight, okay? And so I'm also just taking a very thin amount and just smoothing it on with my fingers, as you see. And any spots that I feel like need more smoothing, I'm gonna go ahead and take a little bit of water and I'm gonna go ahead and just buff it out with my finger, okay? You can find this clay at Michael's. It is a little bit more expensive than the other brands of air dry clay, and you do get a little less. All right, but I, you know, it is what it is. I'm gonna continue to purchase it only because I really like the way it makes my projects come out. Okay, if you've used this clay and you like it, go ahead and leave me a comment and let me know what you thought of it. Okay, if you have another clay that you can recommend to me besides DOS, I don't particularly like DOS. I don't like the texture of DOS. But if you know of another one, another air dry clay, go ahead and let me know. I would love to try it out. Okay, so we're almost finished here. As you see, all I kept doing was just adding some of that air dry clay, using some water, taking my finger and smoothing it out. Okay, I find this very therapeutic. I really, really do. Clay 3D sculpting has become one of my favorite things to do. Okay, but once I finished with this, base, I kind of went ahead and thought about the melting part. Like, how am I going to go ahead and create that melting look? Originally, I was going to go ahead and just use, like drips all over, but I was like, yeah, that could go either way, and I didn't want to have to start all over. So I decided to take this same air dry clay and just create little melting drops, I guess you can call them, onto this tumbler. So sorry for being out of frame right here, but all I'm doing is creating some of the melted drops with this air dry clay and blending it in with water and my sculpting tool. Okay, that's pretty much it, guys. Once you're finished adding your air dry clay and you are satisfied with it, smoothing it out with your water, you want to go ahead and let this fully dry. I went ahead and placed mine in my oven at 170 for about 15 minutes just because I'm impatient and I wanted this to dry quickly. But after it was fully dry, I went ahead and painted this with acrylic paint. So this tumbler is actually for my patron, Billy Joe, and she is my Patron Plus member. In that specific tier, you get a tumbler, created by me every month. And I chose to do the 3D melted skull tumbler. Her favorite flavor of ice cream was chocolate, so I went ahead and painted this brown with some acrylic paints. Okay, for the eyes and nose, I went ahead and added just a little bit of black to the brown just to darken it up. And then I went ahead and added it to my turner and went ahead and used CC DIY's fast set and sealed all of this in. Okay, once I was done, I went ahead and decided to add a chocolate drip around the rim, and then I added my ice cream topper. If you're interested in learning about how I make my ice cream toppers, you are more than welcome to join me at my Patreon. The link is in the description bar. But I actually hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time.